Interestingly, you know the show Who Do You Think You Are?
Yes.
This will make you laugh, right?
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're looking at the biggest names who were too dull for Who Do You Think You Are?
Maybe they didn't cover it because somebody else maybe had a similar story and they'd gone with them instead.
You think?
Number 10, Richard Osman.
This is him becoming an acting warrant officer second class, signalling instructor.
Oh, a signalling instructor.
Right. That's
Really?
Right. Yeah.
This one's a bit strange, because if you are an avid fan of Who Do You Think You Are, you'll know that Richard Osman did indeed get an episode in 2022. But the previous year, he made a few tweets revealing that the researchers at the BBC had turned him down for not being interesting enough.
Wow, so he's gone from leaving school at 14, and 6 years later, suddenly he's teaching posh people, essentially.
For whatever reason, the researchers must have taken a second look at his lineage, because they did indeed commission an episode, finding, among other things, that he had criminal fishermen in his past. That's not quite the pirates he was hoping for, but it's surprisingly close. Perhaps it was all an elaborate ruse to encourage people to watch his episode when it finally went out.
I said right at the beginning, I'd love to find a pirate, and a smuggler will do me. Now we're in business.
Number 9. Steph McGovern. Veteran broadcaster Steph McGovern seems like a shoo-in for Who Do You Think You Are? But according to her, in 2021, she was also rejected from the show. She lifted the curtain about the show and how it gets made, saying that many celebrities get approached about whether they want to participate, and that lots don't make the cut. So if you've ever wondered why every celebrity featured manages to have the most fascinating and strange family stories you've ever heard, that's why, especially with more modern episodes. McGovern admitted that her family history must have been too boring, though apparently the show has a habit of just not getting back to people rather than formally rejecting them. Very professional. Number 8. Martine McCutcheon.
Listen, you're Martine McCutcheon. You're a living legend
Oh,
in my
I
eyes.
love you. I love
Oh,
you.
you've
Right.
gone.
Still best known for playing Tiffany Mitchell in EastEnders and Hugh Grant's love interest, Natalie, in Love Actually, she's another celeb who's too boring to make a TV show about.
Hello, Natalie.
Hello, David. Sir.
McCutcheon had already revealed a lot about her life in her autobiography, and that's often a reason why Who Do You Think You Are refuses someone, because there may not be any new information learnt. However, she herself explained that it was because of a different reason, saying that it was because her family was full of, quote, wrong-uns. That's a very bleak reason to turn down someone's life story.
It was so good for my career as well, because it's there every Christmas and it's just a little reminder.
Number 7. Eamonn Holmes. In 2017, Eamonn Holmes went public about how he too faced the BBC's brutal rejection. Being a beloved star of daytime TV, at least at the time, he's a perfect fit for Who Do You Think You Are's brand of wholesome history.
If you've fallen out with someone in the family, maybe we've given you an excuse today to make up.
But no, Eamonn was another whose ancestors were just too boring. He said that most of them were farmers, and that there wasn't a lot to say about that, and that once the researchers found this out, he was promptly dropped from the show.
Do you remember when Jack asked if you could support Chelsea?
I said, do you know what an orphanage is, son? Those are the exact words.
Worse, he said that he was never formally rejected, saying that he spent 2 days telling them everything he could and then got ghosted by the show's producers.
Anyway, while Eamonn ponders on that one, we've got a special
Are we on next Monday?
Yes, we're all working.
Number 6. Stephen Mangan.
Hi, Stephen. You seem very nice. You're nice to all the pointless contestants and even conceal your loathing for the really thick ones.
Like Eamonn Holmes, Mangan was also rejected because of his ancestors being boring. Despite being one of the UK's most popular TV actors with a long and successful career, apparently there just wasn't a decent hour of television to be had where his ancestors were concerned.
I was born in Ponders End and, my parents were Irish and they came over here and I worked on the building sites and that sort of thing. But
he said that when the researchers looked into him, they found that all of his ancestors had come from, quote, the same place in Ireland. This is a bit unfair, since we're sure lots of people's families stay in the same place and still have interesting stories to tell. But that was the way it went for Mangan.
it's not a bad thing that there are good posh actors, because we always need good posh actors. We just need a variety. Yeah. And it's because otherwise you'll end up with a lot of actors who are very similar.
Number 5. Dermot O'Leary.
Years ago, Who Do You Think You Are approached me and they said, would you like to be on it? And obviously,
Of course you want to be on Who Do You Think You Are?
Not every star who's been rejected by Who Do You Think You Are is diplomatic about it, and Dermot O'Leary is one of the celebs who feels very slighted by the ordeal. O'Leary was also told his story wasn't interesting, but unlike other celebrities, he disagreed.
And they came back 3 months later and went, not an awful lot happened. And that's fine, I'm cool with that, but...
I don't believe it.
O'Leary claims that not one, but two of his ancestors were killed by the Italian mafia in the 1930s after emigrating to America. The BBC's researchers apparently couldn't find evidence of this, but maybe the mafia is just too good at covering its tracks. Or perhaps the heat of a potential mafia death was too much for them, and they canned the show as a result.
Our family members in America, who were members of Chicago police.
This is it, and they got killed by the
mafioso.
This is interesting.
Number 4. Michael Portillo. From losing his seat to losing his chance to have his genealogy traced, Michael Portillo's done it all.
I declare that Stephen Twigg is duly elected Member of Parliament for the constituency.
He was a leading Tory politician for much of the 1990s, until having to leave politics in shame after losing his seat in 1997. Perhaps this is the most interesting thing that's ever happened to him and his family though, since Who Do You Think You Are couldn't dig up anything else. He revealed this during an interview with former reject Steph McGovern, as they bonded over their mutual heartbreak of not being asked to participate. Apparently, he'd already revealed too much of his life elsewhere, leaving very little for the show to uncover. He's not the only politician or politics-adjacent person rejected, as Tony Blair's wife Cherie was also turned down. Number 3. Stacey Dooley.
We've been tempted to do research on the Dooleys.
Dan, I'm desperate to, because actually it's well documented. I don't know a huge amount about my biological father.
The UK's First Lady of documentary filmmaking, Stacey Dooley was also apparently turned down by the producers. She opened up about how her biological father was never in her life and had now passed away, seeing the show as an opportunity to learn about that side of her family.
They came to me a couple of years ago and they said, "Oh, do you fancy doing it?" I said, "God, it would be such a treat."
However, as so many celebs get told, her family was too tied to 2 locations, emigrating from Ireland to Liverpool and then more or less staying there.
You know, we've gone back hundreds of years and actually you're half Irish and half Scouse, but not much else. There's not enough going on for an hour.
Dooley's expressed disappointment over the decision to drop her and didn't make it a secret that she was very jealous when her husband Kevin Clifton, whom she met when they won Strictly together, did get to appear on it.
I am so dull, I don't warrant an hour. I thought, all right.
You could have asked, can you do 10 minutes? What about 10 minutes?
Number 2. Sir Tom Jones. There's a lot of people who'd watch an hour exploring Sir Tom Jones' roots, even if it didn't reveal that he was a long-lost cousin of the king, but that wasn't good enough for the Beeb.
I recorded It's Not Unusual when I was 24, and they went to #1. And when I was...
Like Eamonn Holmes, they also ran into the issue that a lot of Jones's forefathers were farmers who hadn't done an awful lot.
It's not unusual to be loved by anyone.
He was surprised at first by the lack of interest, but admitted that his ancestors were a lot of ordinary people without the shocking, scandalous stories that other celebrities uncover.
It's not unusual to see me cry.
Still, it's nice to know that lots of stars come from humble beginnings and aren't distantly related to aristocrats and historical figures.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Christopher Eccleston. Always outspoken, Christopher Eccleston was also snubbed by the BBC's researchers. Yet again, it was determined that his working-class ancestors just weren't interesting, especially not compared to the shock of Danny Dyer learning about his royal blood. But he took the BBC to task over it, saying, quote, "Generations of working-class people dismissed," end quote. He also accused the BBC of not thinking his story was sexy enough for the show. Lots of working class people do go on the show and learn about their roots, and even some aristocrats find out that their family history hasn't always been one of wealth. Nigella Lawson, for instance. But Eccleston was livid. Let us know which celebrity you want to see explore their roots on Who Do You Think You Are?